How many votes do you need for you to win your political campaign? This is a question that can only be answered after you do an activity called goal setting. You will need to have conducted your research for you to be able to do your goal setting. If you're wondering what a research is, kindly watch the episode where we tackled how do you start your political campaigns. Because you will start your political campaigns by conducting a research. Then the information and data that you get after doing your research, you're going to use it when now you're doing your goal setting. It is almost impossible to meet all the voters within the area where you're contesting for election. It is equally a challenge for you to go to all the areas, geographical areas within the area where you're contesting for election. For example, if you're vying as a president or maybe even as a governor, you can see how challenging it will be to go to all the areas and to meet all the voters. All elections have limited resources. Resources in terms of money, resources in terms of time, resources in terms of personnel. So because of these limited resources, you may want to consolidate all your efforts towards conducting a targeted campaign. You can only carry out a targeted campaign once you know the number of votes that you are looking for. What is the minimum number of votes that you need to attain for you to be able to win an election? So when you're starting your goal setting process, first you want to find out the total number of people who are within that geographical location. What is the total population of the people who are there? This information you can get from census. The last census that was carried out in Kenya will equip you with that information. But not everybody within a certain geographical location can vote for you. In Kenya, only people over the age of 18 can register as voters. So that automatically knocks out a certain number of people from the total population. In addition to that, some people voluntarily choose not to register as voters. And so for you to know the number of people who are going to vote, then you will go to IEBC and get to look at their register and find out exactly how many people are registered to vote in the area where you're contesting for a seat. Remember, not all the people, again, who are registered as voters will turn up to vote. And so that means you may want to know the voter turnout for the last election. That will help you preempt how many people are going to turn up to vote in the election that you're now contesting for a seat. In Kenya, in the last election, the average voter turnout was about 60%. But make sure you look at exactly for the seat that you're going for, what is the exact number or what is the exact percentage of the voter turnout in that place, on that area where you're contesting for a seat. Again, you may not be the only person in the ballot paper. So out of the votes that are going to be cast, you expect your opponents to take away 1 or 2 votes from you. So then out of the votes that are going to be cast, how many will you give room for your opponents to take, and therefore how many do you expect yourself to get? Once you get this particular figure, it is now going to guide your planning and your activity. For example, you're looking for 10,000 votes. And you're assuming that for every household where you go to campaign, you are going to get 1 vote. That will imply that you'll have to visit a minimum of 10,000 households for you to be able to get 10,000 votes. Ladies, it is important that on the election day, you are guaranteed of your block votes. You have a rough figure of how many votes you're going to get in that particular election. Please remember that political party primaries usually attract fewer voters compared to the national elections that are conducted by IEBC. IEBC stands for Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, just in case you may have needed that reminder. So some of the reasons behind why party preliminaries do attract fewer voters. One is because they're different parties. So you expect voters to be registered within different parties in Kenya. Secondly, the date when political parties hold their primaries is usually not a national holiday. So then some voters have to go to work. In addition to that, some voters are usually out of town. So they may not travel back to just come and vote in the party preliminaries. Again, political parties, when they are conducting their preliminaries, unfortunately have their elections marred with a lot of violence. And so this discourages some voters from participating in that activities. Some political parties in Kenya, unfortunately, also do not hold free, verifiable, and credible elections. So some voters feel that it's an activity in futility for them to participate in the political party preliminary elections. Some of them feel that their leaders have already been decided by the political party. And so it's an action in futility or that does not warrant their time, and so they shy away from it. But my point is, you need few votes to win a political party preliminary. But find out how many votes do you need in case you'll be going through that route. Some of the activities or some of the ways by which I have seen people try to marshal their block vote is to transfer voters. When IEBC has opened the window for transferring of voters, you can get somebody going, for example, to their rural home and taking voters there and transferring them to come and register in now the place where they're contesting for elections. Come the election date, then they just need to transport them and maybe offer facilitation. Then these voters would come and vote for them. So they are guaranteed. If there are 2,000, then that candidate is guaranteed of 2,000 votes. And that's why, if you remember, in the other episode, I did tell you never underestimate any opponent because you don't know where their strength lies. I also said remember to do a SWOT analysis of your opponents. At times you get candidates who go and target the Form 4 leavers, the ones who are about to transition into the outside world. They are fresh, they are green, they don't know who to vote for. So then you target them, you register them in your favor. So the day of election, then you get to influence how they vote. And you can count that as your block vote. Some people also go to institutions of higher learning such as campus, university, colleges, amongst others, to just get their block vote. So I want to ask you, where do you think you're going to get your block vote? If you contested in the last election, would you share some of the tricks that you used to ensure that you had a block vote? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Linda Ogweno, and this is the Linda Ogweno Political Show, where I train women about politics and the political processes in Kenya, hoping to increase the number of women participating in politics, and for those who are participating as candidates, to increase the number of the ones who are going to win elections. Thank you for tuning in this channel and for this particular episode, for watching it to the very end. I want to invite you to watch the next episode as well. Have a good day and bye-bye.